Hello dear student, welcome back to my channel NB Biology Tutorial. I am Professor Namrata Burate. Today we are going to start the next topic, that's Kingdom Plantae. In that we will see the division Thallophyta. First of all, we will see the characteristic of Kingdom Plantae. The first one is almost all the living organism depends on plant for food. The plants differ from animals by considering some characteristics. The first characteristic is there is a presence of the cell wall. In plant, there is a presence of cell wall, but in case of animal, there is absence of cell wall. The plant are mostly the autotrophic, means the plant can synthesize its own food material. Why the plant synthesizes its own food material? Because there is a presence of the chloroplast. As the chloroplast is present, means the most important function which is worked out by the plant, that's a photosynthesis. The next characteristic is the plants are immortal in nature, means they cannot move from one place to another place. The Kingdom Plantae is further classified on the basis of characteristics like the presence or absence of seeds. Vascular bundles means there is absence of the vascular tissues is here, that is a xylem, phloem, cambium. All these tissues are absent, and on the basis of differentiation of the plant body, whether the plant body is thalloid or whether there is a presence of the distinct root, stem and the leaves. As this Kingdom Plantae was further classified it into two sub-kingdom. The first kingdom, that's a kingdom Cryptogames. First subkingdom, it's a Cryptogames, and the second subkingdom, it's a Phanerogames. What's a Cryptogames? That is, are the spore producing plants, means there is no development of the flowers. They do not produce the seed and the flowers. They reproduce sexually by the gametes, but sex organs are concealed. The second phenomena we will see, that's a Phanerogames. Phanerogames means what? They are commonly called as the seed producing plants. They produce special reproductive structure, and that special reproductive structure like the flower, and that structures are visible. As this Cryptogames, it's a flowerless plant, and the Phanerogames is the flowering plant. Afterward, this Cryptogames, we see the further classification of this plant kingdom. This Cryptogames, it is further classified on the basis of the presence of vascular system or absence of vascular system. As on the basis of the vascular system, means there is only a single one, that's a pteridophyte. But if the vascular system, vascular tissues are absent, it's a two type. First one, it's a thallophyte, and the second one is a bryophyte. In bryophyte and the thallophytes, there is a absence of the vascular tissues, but in pteridophyte, there is a presence of the vascular tissues. This thallophyte, it again includes the two classes. The first one is a algae and the second one is a fungi. The bryophyte, it's a further classified it into the three classes. First one is the Hepaticea, second one is the Anthrocerati, and the third one is a Musa. The pteridophyte, it's a vascular plant, and it's further classified it into the four classes. First one is a Psilopsida, second one is a Lycopsida, third one is a Spinopsida, and the fourth one is a Pteropsida. The second subkingdom, that is says as the Phanerogames. This Phanerogames, it says as a spermatophyta, as these are the flowering plants, and this flowering plant, it's a vascular plant, and it is classified it into the two divisions. First division, it says as the gymnospermy, and the second division, it says as the angiospermy. In gymnospermy, it's a further classified it into the three classes. First one is a Psychopsida, second one is the Coniferopsida, and the third one is a Nitopsida. Angiospermy, it's a further classified it into the two classes. First one is a Monocotyledone, and the second one is a Dicotyledone. So, first of all, we will start the first division, that's the division Thallophyta. So what's a Thallophyta? We will see in detail. The thallophyte, the members are mostly aquatic, means they are found in water. Some are being terrestrial, means grow on the land, and some maybe grow on the other plants. Maybe grow on other plants. Aquatic organism, it's a grow in marine water, freshwater bodies, as well as they are symbiotic in nature, means they are present along with the other organisms, and both these two organisms are beneficial to with each other, that is says as the symbiotically association. The plant body, it's a thalloid. What's a thalloid? That is, this plant body is not differentiated it into distinct root, stem and the leaves. So you can see in this image, there is a absence of the root, stem and the leaves. In the chlorella, there is absence of the this plant body. It's a thalloid plant body. Chlamydomonas, it's also thalloid plant body. And I think so you are very familiar with the Spirogyra. It's also the thalloid plant body. There is absence of the distinct root, stem and the leaves. The next characteristic is that is, these organisms are very small, unicellular. It's a small organism. It's a unicellular, means it consists of only a single cell. It's a microscopic, means we cannot be seen by the naked eye. These organisms, that is a microscopic organisms like the chlorella, it's a non-motile, means there is absence of the cilia, there is absence of the flagella. But this unicellular organism like the Chlamydomonas, there is a presence of the cilia, there is a presence of this flagella. In the Chlamydomonas, there is a presence of the flagella. So these organisms are the motile, but what it is the unicellular organism. Some of organism, it is a multicellular, means consist of the many cells. That is, this one is a single, then second, third, fourth. That is, there is a presence of the many cells. So it's a multicellular. It's a unbranched. It's a unbranched filament. The Spirogyra filament, it's a unbranched filament. But some of the multicellular organisms, some of the multicellular filamentous organisms like the Chara, so you can see it's a branch. There is a presence of the branches. So this is the filamentous, but it's a branched organism. And the some of organisms, it's a huge, means they are very large in size. They are macroscopic, means can be seen by the naked eyes. These organisms are the seaweeds, and its example is the Sargassum. And this it's near about the 60 meters in length. As in the organisms which is included in the thallophytes, there is a presence of the cell wall, but this cell wall, it consists of the two layers. That is the inner layer. This inner layer, it is says as the inner layer, it says as the cellulosic, and the outer layer, it's a pectin layer. In case of the thallophyte organisms, that is a reserve food material, means the reserve food material which is stored in the form of starch. In some of the algae like the red algae, brown algae and the green algae, the reserve food material, it is in the various forms like the laminarian starch, like the mannitol, fluorodin starch. Afterward that, the next characteristic is that is they lysed. The life cycle shows the phenomena of alternation of generation. Means the main plant body, this main plant body, it's a haploid one. It's a haploid one, and it's a dominant forms of organism, that is a dominant haploid cycle. But the diploid phase, it's a reduced phase. The diploid phase is a reduced phase, that is a sporophytic phase. It's a reduced phase, and this sporophytic phase, it depends on the gametophytic phase. That is, This dominant haploid means what? That's the gametophytic phase is the dominant one, and the diploid phase, that is the sporophytic phase, it's a reduced one. The algae consists of the various types of the photosynthetic pigment, like the chlorophyll A is present in all organisms of algae on the basis of the color pigment, like the chlorophyll pigment, like the xanthophyll pigment, that is the yellow color pigment, or it may be the phycobilins. This phycobilins, it's a further classified it into the two type of pigment. First one is the phycocyanin and the second one is the phycoerythrin. On the basis of the color pigment, this division thallophytes, it classified it into the numbers of classes. The next phenomena we see about the reproduction. It's a very important part in case of the thallophyte. That is the reproduction. It may be the vegetative, the second it may be the sexual, or the third it may be the asexual method. The vegetative, asexual and the sexual method. First of all, we see the vegetative reproduction. What's a vegetative reproduction? It is occurred by means of the fragmentation. That is, each a fragment. So you can see this one is a Spirogyra filamentous algae. It's a unbranched algae. And when this algae, this Spirogyra, it's a completely mature, it is divided it into the form of the fragments, and each of the fragment it is gives rise to again the new thallus. That is says as the fragmentations. The second phenomena, it says as the asexual reproduction. This asexual reproduction, it is occurs via the motile spores. Means you can see here, this one is a motile spore because there is a presence of the flagella. As the flagella is present, so it's a phenomena, it says as the motile one. This asexual reproduction, it is occurs via the motile spores, and that motile spores it says as the zoospores. These spores on germination gives rise to the new plant or the thallus. The spores can be flagellated or the non-flagellated. The flagellated spores, it is found in the Chlamydomonas, and the non-flagellated spores, it is found in the Spirogyra. Afterward that, the third most important way of reproduction, that is says as the sexual reproduction. So it's a very interesting phenomena in case of the division thallophyte. The gametes of the Chlamydomonas and the Spirogyra are similarly in size. You can see here, these are the gametes, and the gametes of the Spirogyra as well as the Chlamydomonas, it's a similarly in size. If the gametes are similarly in size, then that type of sexual reproduction, it says as the isogamy. It says as the isogamous gamete. But if the gametes are different in size, that is the gametes, one of the gamete is a larger in size and another gamete is a smaller in size, then that type of the sexual reproduction, it says as the anisogamy. And the third one is as the fusion between the small motile. So you can see this one is a small motile. Motile means there is a presence of the flagella, and the female gamete, it's a non-motile. This one is a female gamete and it's a non-motile one. Then that type of the fusion, that type of the sexual reproduction, it says as the oogamous. Example, it's a volvax. As the brown and the red algae produce the hydrocolloids. These hydrocolloids are the water holding substances. For example, algin and the carrageenan. As we see the reproduction in the thallophytes, that is in the algae, it's a three-way. First one, it's a vegetative, second one is asexual, and the third one is a sexual method. The vegetative reproduction, it is occurred by means of the fragmentation in the filamentous form, or by means of the cell division. In case of the unicellular form, means there is a presence of only a single cell. The second reproduction, that is the asexual reproduction. This asexual reproduction means what? There is no involvement of the gametes. by the formation of the various types of the motile and the non-motile spores. The most common being, it says, as the zoospores. They are the flagellated, means a flagellated is present, that is the motile one, and on germination gives rise to the new plant. The third way of reproduction in algae, that's a formation and the fusion of the gamete. यहाँ पे क्या होने वाला है, यहाँ पे गैमेट्स फॉर्म होने वाले हैं और गैमेट्स फॉर्म होने के बाद यहाँ पे फ्यूजन भी होने वाला है. As this sexual reproduction, it is occurred in the three way. First one is the isogamy, second one is the anisogamy, and the third one is the oogamy. Isogamy, that is the fusion of the gamete and they are the same size. Anisogamy means a fusion of the gamete of the different size, that is one is the small gamete and the another one is a large gamete. Oogamous means a fusion of the gamete are totally enough to be called as the male and the female gamete. That is a female gamete, it's a non-motile one, and the male gamete is a motile one. So that is called as the oogamy. So you can see here that is there is a sexual reproduction, as is Chlamydomonas, it's a motile one and it undergoes a mitosis division. There is a formation of the gamete, as this gamete is a similar in size, so it is says as the isogamy. And there is a formation, there is a fusion. Fusion के बाद क्या होने वाला है, यहाँ पे zygote फॉर्म होने वाला है. zygote से क्या डेवलप होने वाला है, zygospores. And this zygospores it again undergoes the meiosis division and result is the formation of again the new many numbers of the zoospores. That way of reproduction, that is called as the sexual reproduction. The second way is called as a asexual reproduction, that is there is no formation and the fusion of the gamete is there directly. What's this parental organism, it undergoes a mitosis division and there is a formation of the many numbers of the zoospores. Again these zoospores, it again develops a new plant body, that's a new organisms which form. Afterward, we see the uses of algae, where these algae are used. They are the primary producers in the aquatic environment. The agar it's obtained, ये बहुत ज़्यादा important point है, because it's mostly used in the tissue culture laboratories also. That is agar, it's obtained from the algae, that is the Glidium and the Gracilaria, are used in the preparation of the jellies, ice cream, as well as it is used to solidify the medium. The chlorella, it's used as a food supplement by the space traveler. Some algae, it's used as a fertilizer. Algae, it's used in the sewage treatment, that is the pollution control. The algae is divided it into the three classes. The first class is a Chlorophyce, second one is a Phaeophyce, and the third one is a Rhodophyce. The first of all, we start the first phenomena, that's a Chlorophyce. As the members of Chlorophyce, they are the green in color. यहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा important point कौन सा है, तो Chlorophyce जो algae होती है उसका color कौन सा होता है, तो green color होता है. So you can remember on the basis of this color pigment, you can remember the most of the characteristic of it. As this algae, it's a green color algae. Why it's a green color? Because there is a presence of the main pigment, and that main pigment, it's a chlorophyll A and the chlorophyll B is here. So the color of the algae, it's a green in color. You can see all these image are the green color algae. As this algae are the unicellular. Unicellular means what? Again, it consists of only a single cell. And some of algae, it may be the filamentous. You can say this one is a filamentous algae. That's a Spirogyra. It's a branch of filamentous algae. And some of algae, it's present in the colonial form. The chloroplast found in these members, it's a very in shape. It may be the reticulate shape. It may be the discoid. It may be the spiral, you can say this one is a spiral, or it may be the cup shape. The chloroplast which is present in this algae, this chloroplast, it's of the various shape. It may be the reticulate shape of chloroplast, it may be the discoid shape chloroplast, it may be the spiral shape which is found in case of the Spirogyra, or it may be the cup shape chloroplast. Okay, in case of the Chlamydomonas, it's a cup shape chloroplast. as a food which is stored in the bodies, it's known as the pyrenoids. So you can see there is a presence of the pyrenoids, and these pyrenoids, it stored the reserve food material, and this reserve food material, it is in form of the protein or it's a form of the starch. There is a presence of the cell wall, and this cell wall, it's made up of the cellulose, and the outer layer is a pectin. The vegetative reproduction, it is occurred by means of the fragmentation, which is observed in case of the Spirogyra, which is observed in case of the Gulothrix. Or sexual reproduction, it is observed in case of the flagellated zoospores, that is the Chlamydomonas. Its an example, it's a Volvax. Its example is a Volvax, Gulothrix, then the Spirogyra, Cara, and the last one is the Chlamydomonas. The next class, it's a Phaeophyce. So what's a Phaeophyce? As the name indicates, a brown color algae. The members of in this class, it's a brown algae. They can be branched. You can see there is a presence of the branches. There is a presence of branches. It's a branch filamentous. The main pigment found, it's chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, xanthophyll, and the carotenoid. That's a yellow color, and somewhat the orange or the orange color. The reserve food material, it's in form of the laminarian starch or the mannitol. Laminarian and the mannitol. There is a presence of the cell wall, and this cell wall, it's a cellulosic, and the outer one, it's a gelatinous coating of ulcin. There is a presence of leaf-like structure. You can see there is a presence of this leaf-like structure. In the sargassum also there is a presence of leaf-like structure. Laminaria is also there is a presence of leaf-like structure. In case of the ficus, there is also presence of leaf-like structure. That leaf-like structure is called as a lamina, or it's called as a frond. And this frond, it's a photosynthetic in nature because there is a presence of the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, xanthophyll, and the carotenoid. As a plant body, it is attached to the substratum, and that is says as the holdfast. The plant body attached to the substratum via holdfast. Asexual reproduction occurs by means of the zoospores. For example, ficus, sargassum, and the laminaria. The next one we see, that's a Rhodophyceae. Members of this class, it's known as the red algae. They appear red because there is a presence of the pigment, and that pigment is a phycoerythrin. And this phycoerythrin, it gives a red color to the algae. The thallus, it's a multicellular. It's a multicellular means there is a presence of the many cells. They store the reserve food material in the form of the fluorine starch. The vegetative reproduction, it occurred by means of the fragmentation. Asexual reproduction, it is occurs by means of the non-motile spores, and the sexual reproduction occurs by means of the motile, non-motile gamete. Its example is the chondrus, batrachospermum, giladium, and the gracilaria. Hope so you understood it. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.